Hey everyone, the single greatest health challenge that we see in practice outside of the aches and pains that brought people in is fatigue, lack of energy, or always feeling tired. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Byrne, and on Revive TV today, we're going to share with you the greatest investment that you can make to stop that health challenge from reoccurring. You're a juggler's mum, as my wife, Dr. Vanessa, would say. Someone who's running around after kids, looking after the household, and trying to hold down a job yourself. If you're a male who's in a stressful job at work, in an office situation where the grind of work is constantly at you and you're feeling less productive every day. If you're a sports person who's just trying to find the extra edge and it feels like you don't have the energy to keep sustaining the levels that you need, then this investment that I'm going to share with you today is probably going to be the single greatest investment I believe you can make in your health. So in today's episode, I'm going to shamelessly plug an upcoming seminar called Inspired Eating. I'm going to share with you that at the end. Before I start, I want to reiterate about the 5 requirements to optimal health that every person needs to be able to achieve the level of health that they wish. There's a requirement to move well. There's a requirement to think well. That's working on your mental headspace. There's a requirement to have a proper, healthy, functioning nervous system. As a chiropractor, that's what we do. There's a requirement to rest well, getting adequate sleep. And there is a requirement to eat well. That's the nutritional aspect. Today's episode, we're going to touch on one aspect of 10 steps or 10 requirements under the Eat Well requirement to health. The first one is, and that investment, the requirement that you need in your life is around eating real foods. Now, the investment that I'm talking about is that in eating real foods, I'm saying that you need to be eating organic foods. And today's episode is going to touch on why eating organic foods is not an expense and it is an investment. So some years ago, Dr. Vanessa and I decided that we were going to be predominantly organic eating family. That's not to say that we don't eat out. That's not to say that we don't eat conventional food. But on the whole, we try where we can to eat organic, especially when we're at home. And if there's options when we're out, we will do that also. And the reason we decided to do that was once we learned that having quality nutrients in our body was going to allow us to perform better. So the number one reason I see this as an investment is that to heal and to grow and continue to sustain an optimal lifestyle, our bodies need nutrients to do that. Not just nutrients, the best quality nutrients. Now, as we're going to show you later on, organic foods hold the best amount of nutrients in their food. The second reason it's an investment is the longer you continue to eat good quality food on a consistent basis, the more your body is going to start performing optimally and the more robust it will become in the long term, and probably decreasing the likelihood of you needing intervention through other means later in life, i.e. medical interventions, which one now becomes an expense from a financial perspective and also an expense to your health in that you're creating toxicity into your system. The third reason it's an investment is that conventional foods as we get in our supermarkets as a whole, not to say there aren't organic foods in supermarkets, but as a whole, conventional foods are processed differently. You know, our fruit and our vegetables are sprayed with chemicals, pesticides. You know, GMO foods have like Roundup in them. Now, would you ever eat anything with Roundup on it? You wouldn't. Our animals are processed oftentimes with antibiotics to keep us free from bacteria, added hormones to help them grow more quickly. So the foods as we see them on our plate aren't really what they were initially. And so the old adage of you are what you eat, if you're eating fruit and veg that has been sprayed with pesticides and chemicals to ward off bugs so they look better, then you are ingesting those over time. In small quantities, yes, but over a period of a lifetime, it's a lot. If you're eating animals or produce from animals where the animals have either been stressed in the environment that they've lived in, they've been fed on grains rather than grasses, if they've been fed antibiotics and added hormones to plump them up, then you too are ingesting those things. And we know that any chemical that you ingest, whether it's a medication or not, you will change the composition of your body over time. It's been shown that the greater the density of nutrients in food, the greater the satiety you have, meaning the fullness you have. Here's an example I like to use. If I was to burn a fire and I threw kindling on it, it would burn very quickly and brightly and give off lots of energy quickly. However, if I put a log, it takes a little while to get going, but it stays the course, okay? And it burns for a lot longer. This is much like the nutrient density of foods. When foods lack nutrients, and you think about, say, something like a lolly where there's no nutrient in it whatsoever, it might give you some satisfaction or a spike in energy immediately, but it's not long lasting. Whereas if you ate a good quality grass-fed organic piece of red meat, you will feel satisfied for longer. And not only that, you'll get that's because you're getting greater nutrient density in your food. If you're getting more satisfied by the food that you're eating, you are going to probably start eating less of the food. The less food you eat, the less money you are spending on your food, on organic foods potentially. And the last one is a question I just posed, is when we do our workshops, often we'll say, what is everyone's aim in life? What is the number one most important thing in people's lives? And you'll hear people commonly say, my health is the most important thing. Without that, I have nothing. And I think it's a good line, and I actually think it's the truth, but sometimes we just say it because we know that's what the response is to be. However, let's just stop and think about that for a moment. If health is the number one priority in our lives, is it not worth the investment to put into it what it needs to be optimally well? I think it is. So outside of the expense that people perceive it to be, and I think it's an investment, the other most common pushback is the convenience of buying foods. So in terms of convenience, yes, it does take more research, does take more preparation time to source organic foods. However, this is how I would start going about it. You can get on online forums and check out in your area where the best organic places are. That's what I would start by doing. You can ask a friend who you know is already buying organics predominantly and find out where they're sourcing it from and how they're doing it. There are online options, convenient, where you can, just like shopping at Coles, you can shop online for organic foods. One that I came across that I was a part of for a while is called Inner Origin. Their website is innerorigin.com.au, I believe, where you can buy all your produce, food, and also some other things, household products as well. There's onlinemeats.com.au. So that's a great quality of a great resource and a great place to get those type of things. Now with that online stuff, obviously you're going to pay for the convenience, like you do with other shopping, of having it online. But you need to look out for things like farmers markets. Most often, commonly, they'll have a lot of organic, fresh produce. You can join a co-op. So a co-op is a group. And there are many around. A co-op is a group where they will buy in bulk, and you place your order to them, and the food will come in. They'll package it up, and you can take away your groceries. So to make it affordable, you need to do some research. There are different online options. There are co-op groups. The other thing is there are more and more organic foods are coming into our mainstream supermarkets. So Coles, Woolies, Aldi, and even Foodworks, where we are, have a good range of organic foods. They don't have everything, but they have a good range. So you need to do a little bit of research. The other thing I believe in starting out with organic food or buying is start small. Don't make it I have to do everything at once. A little bit is better than nothing. So it might be that you start by buying good quality sources of meat. Me personally, if I was going to recommend, that's the one I recommend, to make sure that we're not eating animals that have got antibiotics and hormones, extra hormones in them, and they've got a really good quality source of fat in them as well. That's where I'd start. You could start with your fruit and veggies if that's where you're going to go, because that might be a little easier. There's a lot more of those options around. Or and then you can move on down the track to changing your household products so that your cleaning products are organic and chemical free as well. So start small and just start chipping away at it. So to finish, there are 3 keys to making this work and be sustainable for you. The first one I just sort of touched on in the last point, which is do your research. Don't just try and go out and start looking through supermarkets where they are. Do some research. Find a couple of hours once in your week to start doing that. Ring friends. Look at online forums. Google search them. You'll find there are plenty of places around. I'm in Melbourne. There are plenty of places. I'm around the north of Melbourne. There are plenty of places around to buy organic foods around that area. So you need to do a little bit of research. The second one is to plan the time that you're going to do it. Now in our household, my wife, Dr. Vanessa, does most, if not all, the grocery shopping. Okay, and so yes, you might visit 3 to 5 different places a week to get her quality foods. It's a high priority to us and a high priority to her, so she makes that time. You might not want to visit 3 to 5 places. An online option might be better. But what you need to do is actually plan when you're going to do it. Put a time in your week where you are going to go to the Aldi to get that, or you're going to go to Foodworks, or you're going to visit your local organic store. So you need to plan. And the third one, which comes back to the investment, is to budget for it. So here's my take on it. Like anything you want to invest in, whether it's going on a holiday somewhere, where you might put money aside, or you want to buy a piece of furniture like a new bed or a new couch, and you might need to save up for it, and you chip away and put some money aside for it. I'm suggesting you do the same thing for your investment in your organic food budget, because while it can be more affordable than you think, quality does cost. Just like if you're trying to buy a car, the quality of car is determined by usually the quality of the price. The quality of your air travel, if you're flying overseas, will be reflected in the cost. So your food is no different, and I think in our minds we need to make a shift where why should it be different that we don't pay a little extra for the quality? And here's the thing, if we all start moving towards buying organic foods and wanting that and demanding it through our purchases, the prices will always get driven down, just like airfares get driven down when there's more quality products and we're more willing to shop around. So they're the major points around why this is an investment. The last thing about it was, the original reason was, why are we tired? Well, and why will organic foods help us through that? Well, one is it's not just the organics, it is the type of food you're eating as well. And to dive deeper into that, as I said at the start, a shameless plug for Inspired Eating this coming Tuesday, where we'll dive into the 10 requirements or the 10 steps to optimal eating, and making sure that you are getting as much out of your food intake as possible. But the reason organic foods or real foods are helping us is because they're providing the nutrients that our body needs to prosper. And the more the nutrients in our body, the easier the body will work, and therefore take less energy away from you to focusing on the things you do. Yes, there's a push away from carbohydrate foods. Yes, they will, if you're eating that predominantly, they will lower you as well. But the quality of the food is just important in my eyes as the types of food that we're eating. So look out for Inspired Eating. There's a link to lead you to that. Please share your thoughts or your or ideas around your organic shopping and where you get it from. I thank you for watching. And I look forward to seeing you on another episode of Revive TV. Cheers.